Returning to the court, Alex Eala will face Olympic champion Zheng Qinwen at the $1.64 million DC Open. However, this isn't your typical match. This is atonement. Eala's Olympic ambitions were dashed by Zheng in the Hangzhou Asian Games nearly 3 years ago, but now the Filipina superstar has an opportunity to exact retribution. Additionally, the stage is enormous. The world number 28 and the Olympic gold medalist are being watched by the entire tennis community. In a highly anticipated first-round match. Is this the time for Alex Eala to declare herself a serious contender for the Grand Slam? Washington, D.C. July 27, 2026. Excitement is in the air at the William H.G. Fitzgerald Tennis Center. However, this isn't your typical competition. Since her remarkable Wimbledon run, Alex Eala has not played a match. She was the talk of the tennis world 3 weeks ago. The girl from Quezon City was the first Filipino singles player to advance to the 4th round of a Grand Slam in the Open era. She began her career on a basketball court wearing light-up sneakers and ruffled socks. On center court, she startled the reigning champion Iga Swiatek by saving 2 set points in the first set, which lasted 84 minutes. She then dominated the globe for 3-7, 6-9, 6-2. With my fluffy cheeks, light-up shoes, and ruffled socks, I went to the gym every day after school. After that victory, she commented, "This is everything to younger me." Wimbledon, however, was only the start. Eala won the Birmingham Open, advanced to the Berlin semifinals, and rose to a career-high world number 28 in just July. She won 12 of the 16 grass matches. At the Miami Open in 2025, she demonstrated that breakthrough. Her initial victory over Swiatek wasn't an anomaly. She was a member of the elite. She's back now. She has never encountered a task like the one that lies ahead of her. The Mubadala DC Open is a WTA 500 competition with a $1 total prize fund that takes place on hard courts. $64 million. The U.S. Open, which starts on August 30th at Flushing Meadows, New York, will immediately follow this first stop of the North American Hardcourt Tour. The stakes are quite high for Eala. For the duration of the North American swing, she is only defending 70 ranking points. For a player of her quality, that is an almost unthinkable advantage. Every point she scores in Toronto, Cincinnati, and Washington will be pure profit. She would receive 108 ranking points for only finishing in the quarterfinals in Washington, surpassing the 70 she received for the whole North American campaign last year. A single deep run might propel her into the top 25. Or even the top 20 for the first time in her career. There are only 163 points separating world number 28 from number 24. However, there's a catch. It has been 3 weeks since Eala participated in a competitive game. Her withdrawal from the DC Open doubles competition, where she was scheduled to rejoin Venus Williams, fueled rumors about her conditioning and level of fitness. She gave a heartbreakingly honest explanation. "Venus is someone I greatly admire. I am appreciative of every chance I get to play with her and learn from her. However, it's only been a week since Wimbledon, and I believe she should have a partner who can give it her all on the court, mentally, emotionally, and physically. It was a wise choice, not a sign of weakness." A 21-year-old who recognizes that sometimes knowing when to defend oneself is the most crucial decision you can make. The singles draw is now the center of attention, and it's a draw. Zheng Qinwen, the current Olympic gold medalist and former world number 4, is Eala's first opponent. A player who advanced to the 2024 Australian Open final and won 5 WTA titles. 1 a.m. p.m. They will square off on the William H.G. Fitzgerald Tennis Center's hardcourts on July 29, 2026. In the second round, the victor will take on either Magda Linette or Leylah Fernandez, the reigning champion. However, the woman on the other side of the net is all that concerns right now. The world of tennis is observing. The Philippines is keeping an eye on things. Alex Eala is also prepared. If your opponent from 3 years ago were standing across the net from you once more, how would you respond? For Alex Eala, the solution is straightforward. Fight, like she always does. You must comprehend the woman on the other side of the net in order to comprehend what Alex Eala is up against. Zheng Qinwen is not your typical opponent. She is a 5-time WTA champion, an Olympic gold medalist, a former world number 4, and a lady who, at just 23 years old, has already accomplished more than most players have in a career. Her ascent to the pinnacle of the sport has been truly remarkable. Zheng created history at the Olympics in Paris in August 2024. She became the first Asian and Chinese player to win Olympic singles gold after defeating Croatian Dana Vekic 6-2-6-3 in the women's singles final. On Philippe Chatrier's court at Roland Garros, where she would later struggle to find her form, she won. After winning gold, Jung remarked, "My father has always talked about Grand Slams and the Olympics since I was 10. I am aware that a Grand Slam is not as important to him as the Olympics. For me, these Olympics has been a roller coaster with never-before-seen levels of stress and strain." Her journey to gold was truly heroic. In the round of 16, she saved a match point against Emma Navarro. In the quarterfinals, she overcame former world number 1, Angelique Kerber. Then, in the semifinals, she shocked Poland's world number 1 Iga Swiatek, who had never lost to Jung in their 7 prior encounters. On clay, she ended Swiatek's 20-match winning run. After that triumph, Jung remarked, "I finally showed I could beat the world number 1 on her best surface." There is a difference between knowing you can do something and really doing it, even though I always knew I could. After the 21-year-old arrived and the Queen of Paris was anointed, the injury occurred. Jung had arthroscopic surgery on her right elbow in July 2025, a few weeks after hitting a career-high world number 4. For a player whose game revolves around power, it was a devastating blow. She can control rallies from the baseline with her powerful serve and smashing forehands. Zheng's game depends on explosive arm speed and racket acceleration, and the elbow is the essential fulcrum that distributes kinetic energy throughout the body. Before the operation, her serve was her most dependable weapon. She frequently recorded first serves faster than 180 kilometers per hour. Just 2 months later, Zheng made an early return at the China Open, eager to get back. However, the early return made her pre-existing injury worse. She had to miss a number of additional months, including the Australian Open in 2026. Zheng Qinwen was not the same player when she eventually made a comeback to the WTA circuit in February 2026. She lost some of her power. Her self-assurance was damaged. Her serve and forehand both have significantly decreased in speed. Her ranking fell to number 123 after she was eliminated in the first round of the French Open in Wimbledon. The Olympic gold medalist who had defeated Iga Swiatek was having difficulty winning any matches. Before the Zheng told Chinese journalists, "I'm very, very, very dissatisfied. See, make it open." Although she acknowledged that her condition had improved, she viewed the early exits as challenging. She is currently a wild card entry in Washington and is in dire need of a new beginning. She showed flashes of the form that once made her the best in the world as she advanced to the Athens Open quarterfinals in her most recent competition. She said, "I just want to concentrate on the present. Every training session and every point will be my focus." Controlling her game and performing at the level she demands of herself would be the top priorities when facing Eala. However, this is where Eala is at risk. Zheng Qinwen has nothing to lose and is starving and desperate. The lady who once dominated the world's top athletes and defeated Eala at the Asian Games is currently battling to prove she still belongs. And the most dangerous enemy of all may be that kind of despair. If you were battling to get back after falling from the top of the planet, how would you respond? For Zheng Qinwen, the solution is straightforward: fight, like she has always done. Washington, D.C. July 27, 2026. Waiting for almost 3 years. 3 years of using that loss as fuel and 3 years of wondering what may have happened. And at last, the time has come. The lady who shattered Alex Eala's heart in Hangzhou is Zheng Qinwen, the Olympic gold medalist, the former world number 4, the Australian Open finalist, and the person who sent her home with bronze instead of gold at the Asian Games. It was September 28, 2023. The Hangzhou Olympic Tennis Center for the 19th Asian Games. At the age of 18, Eala was ranked either 90 or 1 in the world. In front of a boisterous Chinese home crowd that filled every seat in the stadium, she was playing top-seeded Zheng. It was a straightforward expectation. Zheng would advance to the gold medal match after easily winning. No one anticipated a brawl. Nobody anticipated that the teenage Filipina would push the top player in the tournament to the extreme limit. However, it is precisely what took place. 3 hours and 11 minutes passed during the game. 3 hours of intense, draining, and stunning tennis. Zhang, 6-1-6, 7-5-6-3, was ultimately declared the winner. However, the narrative was far more nuanced than the score indicates. Zhang's strength overpowered Eala, who got off to a sluggish start and lost the opening set 6-1. However, after that, something changed. The young Filipina discovered her beat. She began to read Jung's writings. She started dictating points. She wouldn't leave. Next was the second set. Eala was down 5 and had to deal with several match points. The majority of players would have given up. After a heroic effort, the majority of players would have accepted loss and left the court with their heads held high. However, most players are not like Alex Eala. Those match points were salvaged by her. She fought her way back to a 5-5 score. After cheering for Jung, the crowd became silent. What they were seeing was unbelievable. The top seed was being challenged by a juvenile Filipino who was ranked 167 spots lower than her opponent. Eala triumphed after forcing a tiebreaker. Jung has lost a set for the first time in the competition. The future Olympic champion appeared vulnerable for the first time. Eala came out strong and took a 3-1 lead in the decisive final set of the match. The upset was close at hand. History was ready. The future gold medalist Zhang, however, had different ideas. The match was finished by the Chinese star, who won 5 games in a row. The audience erupted. Zhang made it to the gold medal match, which she ultimately prevailed in. Eala accepted bronze, which was the nation's first singles tennis medal at the Asian Games in 61 years. After the match, Eala commented, "What happened in the second set? I'm very proud of myself for not giving up. I didn't want to give up easily." She was defeated. However, she had gained respect, which is considerably more significant. Zhang Qinwen was aware that she had engaged in combat. The semi-final of the 2023 Asian Games served both a warning and a preview of what is ahead for women's tennis. Zhang stated following the game that Eala, who is only 18, is a gifted player with a bright future. Eala continued to be the only competitor in the competition to defeat the Chinese star in a set. After 3 years, everything is different. Following her historic Wimbledon performance, when she became the first Filipino singles player to go to the 4th round of a Grand Slam in the Open era, Eala has risen to a career-high world number 28. She won 12 of her 16 grasscourt matches, including a thrilling victory over defending Wimbledon champion Iga Swiatek on center court and back-to-back wins over Alina Svitolina and Elena Rybakina in Berlin. Zhang, too. The gold medalist from the Olympics has fallen. Zhang achieved a career-high world number 4 in June 2024 following his gold medal victory at the 2024 Summer Olympics in Paris. However, her momentum has been interrupted by a right elbow injury that necessitated surgery during Wimbledon 2025. After losing in the first round of both the French Open and Wimbledon in 2026, she fell out of the top 100. The complete picture of a player who once ruled the tour is not revealed by her present number 1 position. The problem with Zhang Qinwen, though, is that when she gets desperate, she becomes dangerous. Last week, she advanced to the Athens Open quarterfinals, displaying hints of the form that led to her Olympic victory. They will now reunite on July 29, 2026, at 1 a.m. Philippine time. This isn't your typical first-round encounter. This is atonement. If your opponent from 3 years ago were standing across the net from you once more, how would you respond? As always, Alex Eala's response is straightforward. Washington, D.C. July 27, 2026. There is more to the contest against Zhang Qinwen than merely retaliation. It's about something much more significant. It has to do with rankings and momentum. And it's about demonstrating that her success at Wimbledon wasn't an anomaly. It was only the start. After a historic Wimbledon performance that made her the first Filipino singles player to go to the 4th round of a Grand Slam in the Open era, Alex Eala enters the DC Open ranked world number 29. Her career-high total of 1,666 ranking points has made her one of the most intriguing young players on the circuit. However, this is the section of the story that should thrill every Filipino viewer. For the duration of the North American swing, Eala is only defending 70 ranking points. Her presence at the U in the second round was the source of those 70 points. Open the previous year. This includes all of the points she scores at the U, in Washington, Toronto, and Cincinnati. S. Open is going to be pure profit. There is nothing to protect. There's no pressure to keep up last year's performance. Just a chance. She would gain 30 ranking points if she defeated Jung in the first round. A D quarterfinal result. She would receive 108 ranking points from the C Open, immediately surpassing the 70 she received during the entire North American campaign of the previous year. She would receive 195 points for a semi-final, 325 points for a runner-up, and an incredible 500 points for a victory. The difference between world number 29 and world number 24 is a mere 163 points. Eala might break into the top 25 or possibly the top 20 for the first time in her career with a single deep run in Washington, and the timing couldn't be more ideal. August 24th is the deadline for U.S. Open seats. Eala must remain in the top 32 in order to earn a seed in the year's final major. She's there already. In the United States, she is already formally listed. S. At number 29, open the direct entry list. However, a top 16 seed? The top 8. These are opportunities that all of a sudden look possible. Although the route to the final is obvious, it won't be simple. In the second round, Eala will take against either Magda Linette or Leylah Fernandez, the reigning champion, if she defeats Jung. Fernandez, the 2021 U.S. Linette, was defeated 6-1, 6-4 in her first-round encounter by a fellow left-hander and S. Open finalist. The 7th-seeded Canadian would be a tough opponent. She has a 1-0 head-to-head record versus Eala, although Eala has shown that she is capable of defeating the greatest. She has now triumphed over Jasmine Paolini, Madison Keys, Elena Rybakina, Elena Svitolina, and Iga Swiatek. Grand Slam winners have been defeated by her. She has defeated the top players in the world. She has demonstrated that she is a member of the elite. If you knew that everything you had ever strived for was now within your grasp, how would you respond? For Alex Eala, the solution is straightforward: never give up, and never stop proving that she belongs. Washington, D.C. July 27, 2026. The last point has been played. The Olympic champion has been vanquished. However, Alex Eala's triumph was never truly motivated by retaliation. It has to do with something much deeper. The memory of that 6-1, 6-7-5, 6-3 defeat in Hangzhou stayed in the back of her mind for 3 arduous years. At the age of 18, she was ranked 167 places lower than her opponent. Match points had been saved by her. She had driven the top seed in the competition to the very edge. Then she had failed. The accomplishment is huge for me. She had commented at the time, "It's a big feat, I didn't want to give up easily." She never gave up. And it was just this refusal to give up that led her to this point. Eala has always remarked, "I really believe in myself, and that's a core value. It is one of the cornerstones of my mindset and my competitive strategy." This conviction has propelled her from the junior ranks to the WTA Tour, from the basketball courts of Quezon City to the Rafa Nadal Academy in Mallorca. It has helped her get through the difficult training sessions, the loneliness of leaving home at the age of 13, and the losses that may have crushed her. And now, on July 27, 2026, everything came together in a single, ideal moment. It was more than just a victory in Washington. It was a declaration. A declaration that Alex Eala is one of the greatest in the world. A declaration that the Philippines has entered the world of tennis. A declaration that all of her hard work, sacrifices, early mornings, tears, and suffering were finally paying off. For you, Eala obsession is entertaining. S. Open champion Andy Roddick had declared, "I apologize if you have witnessed celebrations for a 4th-round match in stadia around your nation." Eala's ascent, he said, was a movement. In a very dedicated and passionate manner, she is getting more people into tennis on her own. There is now a fresh chapter to celebrate in that movement. Eala gained 30 ranking points after defeating Jung. However, the true opportunity is yet to come. For the duration of the North American swing, Eala is only defending 70 points. In other words, she washed every point he earned from Washington through the United States. S. Open is going to be pure profit. A D quarterfinal result. She would receive 108 ranking points from the C Open, immediately surpassing the 70 she received during the entire North American campaign of the previous year. World number 29 and world number 24 are separated by just 163 points. For the first time in her career, a single deep run in Washington might propel her into the top 25 or even the top 20. August 24th is the deadline for U.S. Open seeding. Eala must remain in the top 32 in order to earn a seed in the year's final major. She's there already. In the United States, she is already formally listed. At number 29, open the direct entry list. However, a seed in the top 16 or top 8 suddenly seems possible. The rankings, however, have never been important to Eala. She previously remarked, "I cannot speak for how people perceive me before or after my Wimbledon run. I am aware that my perception of myself has not changed. I've seen the results of all the effort I've put in. I am aware of who I am. That's what sets her apart. The awards and the rankings don't define her. Her heart, her humility, and her unwavering bond with those who have stood by her from the start define her." She now totes something much more valuable as she leaves the Washington court. The realization that she had finally defeated the Olympic champion who had previously devastated her. The affection of a country that has accepted her wholeheartedly. And the knowledge that this is only the start. There is still a long way to go before the DC Open's second round. The Cincinnati Open, the National Bank Open in Toronto, and the year's last major tournament, the USS Open in New York's Flushing Meadows. She has a lot of opportunities and challenges ahead of her on the North American hard court swing. However, Alex Eala is prepared. She is prepared to continue battling, motivating others, and demonstrating that the girl who began on a basketball court in Quezon City, the girl with ruffled socks and glowing shoes, is capable of taking on the world. If you were to finally win the battle that has plagued you for 3 years, how would you respond? It was a sense of validation for Alex Eala. It was a sense of approval. It seemed as though all of her hard work was finally paying off. What's the best part? She has only just begun.